All right, you saw it on the screen. Yes, the one and only Joey Camen is here. He is a legend. He is a Comedy Store icon, Las Vegas headliner. He's worked with the greats. He's one of the greats himself. He's worked with so many celebrities: David Letterman, Jonathan Winters, Richard Pryor, you name it. Legendary voice actor, comedian, writer extraordinaire. And he's my next guest coming up right now here on the Jim Master Show, Entertainment Lifestyle Celebrity Talk Show Series. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody, wherever you're watching around the world. You can comment, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. But watch and enjoy, because we're going to have some fun. And he has a new show that is debuting in New York City coming up in a matter of weeks. We're going to talk about that as well. But truly, he is a legend from New York to Hollywood and everywhere in between. And matter of fact, here's a little bit of a fun fact. Remember the McGruff Crime Dog commercials, PSAs, public service announcements? Guess who was the voice of the many things that he has done? Guess who is the voice of McGruff, the crime dog? Of course, that was that fantastic campaign about if you see crimes, kind of like see something, say something, before they started saying that. Well, guess what? He was taking a bite out of crime for years as the voice of McGruff. He's also the voice of Natural Smurfling on the Smurfs. Absolutely. He has lent his voice to Michael Jordan's Space Jam and so many animations and cartoons and video games and so much more. But again, he has done this for a long time. Again, he's also a best-selling, headlining stand-up comedian. He's a legend in the industry. Everybody loves him. He's very funny. He's very witty. He's very quick. You've seen him over the years on all the talk shows as well. There he is on the right on the couch with Dinah Show and gang. Here's some more great shots. We're going to show you all kinds of cool stuff that we've got here. He has sent along some really cool vintage photos. Look at the gang there. There's a lot of Hollywood royalty and Vegas royalty in that shot, huh? We'll talk about all these great shots and all these fabulous people he's worked with. Again, of course, there is one of his icons, the one and only, the witty and sorely missed Jonathan Winters, one of the funniest, quick-witted people on the planet. Again, he's worked with them all. There he is. Again, look at this shot. I mean, these are incredible photos. And we'll talk about this one in just a minute. Put his smiles on your face. Again, he's really, really a funny guy. He's a tremendous talent, and he's a legend. There he is with David Letterman of now. Imagine that shot. Yeah. And there he is with David Letterman of then. We're going to have a lot of fun here on the show as we talk about his iconic career, his upcoming show. And, you know, he's very open and real about his life, too. He grew up in Detroit, and we're going to talk about that. But his play, his show that's coming up one night only in New York City is something really, really special. I'm going to tell you how you get tickets as well. It's sort of patterned after his best-selling book, which is this here. You don't want to get it. It's a real, real collector's item. It's something very special. He's very open and raw about his life, laughing through the pain. And these are incredible stories from the trenches of Hollywood, stand-up comedy, and beyond with Joey Camen. And this terrific play or I see play, but it's actually a show, is a one-man situation, and it's going to be something really special. And again, it goes over all the different people he's worked with, the ups, the downs of being in the crazy career that he loves so much and that he's so good at. So we have a legend here on our show, one of many that we love to celebrate with all of you. With that said, let's welcome him, not from New York, not from LA, even not from Vegas, from beautiful downtown Burbank, where, of course, The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson originated on good old NBC. Here's our special guest, Joey Camen, on the Jim Master Show. Joey, hey, welcome Jim. To the show.
Thanks for having me. Hey, you know what? That one of those pictures that you showed, that has never been seen anywhere. of me standing on the Comedy Store roof with Joey Camen, the Comedy Store. I was 18, and I jumped up on the roof, and I had someone take my old Pentax camera. That has never been seen anywhere. I've never showed that to anyone.
That is incredible. That is really an incredible shot.
That's the old marquee that doesn't even exist anymore. They probably took that down in the 80s. I was a kid. Look at me.
Wow. You didn't have to put the letters up, did you?
Oh yeah, I did.
and he has them in his storage bin right now as we speak.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've been headlining for a long time from, that point forward. And as Ed, in addition to being a fantastic headliner everywhere you go, especially in Las Vegas, you have lent your voice to some of the most iconic pieces of material over the years. What came first for you? Was it the comedy and stand-up, or was it voice work, or how did it all come?
No, I started stand-up. I left home at 17 from Detroit, and I immediately I didn't know anybody. I was on my own. I came from abusive background, abusive father, and I had a plan at 15 to leave home at 17, and I went immediately to the Comedy Store, and I auditioned for Mitzi. She liked me. And come back next week, 3 more times. I was made a regular after 4 times at 17 years old, which was, I just thought everybody did that. I didn't know that it was a big deal or anything. And I guess it was. But, and I started working there, and I worked there for 25 years with all kinds of people. It's like when everybody was first starting out, and, a lot of them came after me. And I was there at a time when, it was the heyday of the Comedy Store and comedy and stand-up comedy, and it was really a lot of fun. It was a great learning experience, and I just had a ball doing it. And that came first. And I was doing stand-up maybe a year when I was mentored by Dawes Butler, who is a legendary voiceover actor. Dawes is the voice of Yogi Bear, Huckleberry Hound, Quick Drum McGraw, Snagglepuss, Jinx, Pixie, Cap'n Crunch, Wally the Gator, Lippy the Lion. He's Elroy of the Jetsons, and he took me under his wing. And I started studying acting and voice technique and things like that with him. So that came second, and I've had a career with both since then. Yeah.
And early on, you had an opportunity, as I mentioned, you've worked at some of the world famous Comedy Store clubs and performed at venues in Hollywood and La Jolla, California, Vegas, doing Hotel Main Showroom, and throughout the United States as well. And in those early years, you had an opportunity to work with Richard Pryor as his opening act and as a sketch player in his iconic NBC TV series, The Richard Pryor Show. It just so happens it's a small world. 2 dear friends of mine are one of his daughters, Rain Pryor, and son, Richard Pryor Jr., who are fabulous people, and they celebrate their dad. But for you early on, what was it like having this break, this opportunity to work with a legend like Richard Pryor Jr. or Richard Pryor?
Richard Pryor. Well, I met Richard when I was 18, and I was friends with Paul Mooney, and I had been doing, this is all in my new play. The first time he saw me, he wanted to beat me up because I was doing black voices on stage, which just is a reflection of the way I grew up. And I do characterizations ranging from black people to little kids to, and he goes, Paul, I can't swear on here, can I? I can't swear on here, can I?
Well, I mean, you're quoting him, right? You're quoting him. So you're quoting him, right?
Okay, this is in the play too, because the first time he saw me on stage, up on stage doing my acting, really wild stuff, and he goes, Paul, who is that motherfucker up there? Al Jolson's son? I'm about to whoop his ass. And he wanted to beat me up, and Paul had to stop him. And
I forgot to tell you, you can't curse on here.
And Paul had to stop him. He goes, "Oh, that's Joey. He's a friend of mine. Leave him alone." I think he was high or something, but he calmed down. And he introduced. I got introduced later that night, and he was very nice. And he told me he thought I was funny and everything. And then a couple of years later, Paul cast me. Paul Mooney was Richard's writer and fellow stand-up, and he was the head writer of the Richard Pryor Show, as well as the casting director. And the show was cast with, but basically comedians from the Comedy Store that Paul and Richard liked. And I didn't have to audition or anything, and I did a few sketches with them, and it was really a lot of fun. I mean, it was one of my first acting experiences on TV. And after that, I used to go on. There was only like a handful of us that was allowed to go on before him in the original room in which we would perform, because just anyone wasn't allowed to go on before him. Even though there were like 10 acts before that, you still had to have been approved. And I was one of the acts that got to be approved, and it was really fun. And I would talk to him on, I wasn't close with him, but I'd talk to him about certain things, and he'd tell stories, and you'd just be laughing. He was funny on and off stage, which a lot of comedians are not. And I liked being around him.
Absolutely. And you had an opportunity to be around John Witherspoon, David Letterman in the early days of David at the Comedy Store. And what was it like being connected with David? I mean, look, obviously his...
Well, I wasn't very close. I wasn't close with David. Those pictures you were showing, that was at Johnny Witherspoon's wedding. Johnny was a good friend. Johnny and me are both from Detroit. And I knew Johnny since I started at the Comedy Store. That was David was the best man, and I was one of the ushers that stood up at that was Johnny's wedding in '86, and wow. To his wife Angela Robinson, and who he was married to.
Letterman was still filling in for Johnny Carson on the Tonight Show too.
No, he had his own series. He had his own show then. No,
yeah, that's
that
right.
Was in New York. He had a show then, and David was always very funny. I mean, he made me laugh a lot. I mean, his stand-up was different, because when he first came there was a weatherman from, I was there before he was there. I mean, he was a weatherman.
Indianapolis,
Indiana. And, he had a very morbid sense of humor. It was really funny. I mean, most people wouldn't even, I remember people's lines and stuff. I have a weird memory. I remember stuff when I was 3. And he was, I liked David. I wasn't close with him. I was close with his friends, like Johnny, and his best friend was a guy named George Miller, who did his show, like, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 times. I was good friends with him, but I didn't really hang out with David much. I would see them when I'd see them, so, but of course he knew who I was, and I'd talk to him. But,
absolutely. And then also too, Jay Leno, he even coached you for appearances on the Dinah Show, huh?
Yeah, Jay Leno, and this is going back a long time to your viewers. I mean, this is like, I don't know, like 1980, 81. There was a show, and that picture, that's me on the far right, and next to me is Tim Matheson from Animal House. Yeah. And that's Dinah, and the little boy is Adam Rich from 8 is Enough. And that on the far right is Billie Jean King.
Billie Jean King, that's what I thought, right. What a lineup there of major names.
Show very young while I was filming a TV series for PBS called The Righteous Apples. It was a PBS series. And on that's Dinah, that's Dr. Wayne Dyer, who was also from Detroit.
Oh, yes. I interviewed him on PBS. He was a legend.
Yeah. And next to them is Marilyn McCoo and Billy Davis, the singing group.
Wow.
And Jay had just helped me, because it was the first time doing a talk show, and he had like coached me for my set, I think I did 5 minutes or whatever. And he'd like, slow it down here, do it here, and that kind of thing. And then we reviewed the tape later on, He was just a really nice guy. I've always found Jay to be a really pleasant comic and one of the best stand-up comedians I've ever seen in my life. He could do 90 minutes and make it look like it was easy, non-stop laughs. Most people have never seen him in a club. They just see him on a Tonight Show. That's like nothing compared to what he can do in a live room. I mean, he's just really amazing.
So many incredible people. Jimmie JJ Walker, of course. We know Good Times, Dynamite, Sam Kinison, George Miller, as you mentioned, Willie Tyler, Lester, Bob Saget. The list, Roseanne Barr, Jim Carrey. Surrounded by so many extraordinary people over the years too. And did you?
I just never became as famous as them. That's all.
You're on the Jim Master Show. Wait to see what happens.
And they aren't.
Right, that's right. Look at this shot here. We got, maybe you can tell us
I'll
from
tell you
your
who that.
perspective.
I want to know who that is. It's me in the front, standing in the middle. There is Mitzi, and leaning back into her, that's Rosanne Barr. And in the back, that's Michael Siegel of a comedy team called Lacassie and Siegel. And the guy on the far right, that's Peter Lacassie, who passed away. May God bless him. And in the way in the upper left, that's Andrew Dice Clay. And behind him, behind Mitzi, is Danny Stone, a talented comedian impressionist who passed away. And I have no idea who that guy is with the hat on. I mean, there was always hang-arounders and stuff. I have no idea. He wanted to get in the picture, so he's there. I can't remember his name. And that's the same. That's the crew from a black and white photo from the same week that we were there in Las Vegas. So it's Rosanne, Michael Siegel, me, Dice Clay, and Jimmie Walker, JJ Walker, and then Danny Stone and Peter Lacassie. So those were the shows we would do in Vegas. And that's me, Jimmie Walker, and Sam Kinison. Sam was performing across the street that week, and we went over to go see him at the MGM Grand. You know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are some great shots. Look at this
one. Yeah, there's Janice Hart on the orange, in the what is it, in the yellow, and that's my good friend Paul Mooney, and kneeling down below, that's Tamayo Otsuki. And she was actually the girlfriend of Sam Kinison, and she's a very talented stand-up comedian. And that's Mitzi and me. I'm hugging her there, and the guy behind him, that's Finest Henderson III, who's a super talented guy, comedian, impressionist, still headlines all over Vegas and major cruise lines. Really good guy. He's still at it all these years later. Yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah, great people.
Oh, that's from a music video I did I did a cover comedy version of the Patti LaBelle and Michael McDonald's On My Own. And that's a buddy of mine named Richard, and now behind me are Paul Mooney and Johnny Witherspoon, and I'm wearing an afro wig because I played this black guy who's singing the song along with an old Jewish grandmother who's singing along with him. And that's Paul and John Witherspoon. And they weren't old then. No one was old. I was young. They were young. And I got them to play pimps in an old ho folks home. How crazy is that? And the video's online. It's on YouTube. They were pimps in an old ho folks home.
Wow. And if you're just joining us now.
I was doing crazy stuff a long time ago. You know, from before the internet. So, who
are some of the people? Like, of course, I mentioned Jonathan Winters, of course, a real icon for everybody, but an inspiration for you. Who were some of those people? You know, when you were 17, 18, and sort of getting into everything, that inspired you, that you looked towards, like a Jonathan Winters and others?
It was really Jonathan. That picture was taken. I talk about it in my new play. I got to actually work with my idol. He's my idol. He was the guy that influenced me more to become a comedian, and especially with the voices and the characters. And I just thought he was the funniest guy on the planet. He was my comedy god. We worked on a cartoon series for Fox Kids TV. It was called Little Dracula. It was a really weird show about teenage Dracula, and I voiced the character of a little bunny, bizarre looking bunny, and he voiced a couple other characters, and I was just beside myself being around him and him telling stories on breaks, and it was just, oh my God. He's like the only celebrity that I asked to get a picture with. Those other ones were like, we were told to take pictures and it was the event or something. Yeah. He's the only one I ever walked up to say, oh, please, can I have my picture? Please. And after I did it, the whole cast was like so intimidated by him. And after I broke the ice and said, I want my picture taken with you, oh, Joey, please take our pictures. And there were some big guys, people in the cast. Joe Flaherty was in that cast, who was from SCTV. He wanted his picture taken, and the rest of the people there. So it's like people had such respect for Jonathan, even if they were stars. They were like, this is the comedy master right here, and I wasn't scared of him. I just went like, oh my God, he's just Jonathan. You see, I'm so happy in that photo. I mean, he was like, just geez, I couldn't. It's like when you meet your idol and he's actually truly a good person and a funny guy and fun to be around. Because a lot of times you meet your idols and they're like dicks, So
it's just not what they
Right. But this guy was like off the charts.
He almost looks like he's about to say, you know, I'll take the photo with you and I'll put my arm around you, but only if I can hang on to this plant or something.
Yeah. Oh, he was just so funny. And,
He was quick. I mean, he didn't need backup dancers or anything else. He could just.
And he would tell a story about going to
In
the store
air.
or whatever. He'd tell a story, like going to the store, going shopping with his wife, and he'd act out everybody he talked to. And you're sitting there and like, you're just like,
you got to put a pot of coffee on because he's going to go with it.
Yeah,
he and Robin Williams had a great sort of friendship. I think Jonathan respected and Robin's ability to do that off the cuff, quick stuff too.
I guess, yeah. I mean, he's no Jonathan Winters, taking my word for it. You know, and
Jonathan Winters.
He's no Jonathan Winters. You can't compare
the trend. Set the bar.
No, you can't compare him to anyone.
Remember Lester?
Yeah, me and my buddy Willie. I still talk to Willie. Willie's from Detroit also.
Yes.
Me. Yeah, and Lester.
Is he still performing? Is he still doing Lester?
Yeah, he still does it, Willie. And
boy, I would love to get him.
Even though I know he's talking to a dummy, I still say, "Can I talk to Lester?" Even though I know talking to him, because the thing comes alive. It's like he's a genius. It's like
I love ventriloquism.
He goes,
yeah.
Hi, Lester. I go, he'll say, "Hi, Joey." You know, I know I'm talking to him, but it's like
but it's like Lester can say what Willie can't. Exactly. I think I've always enjoyed ventriloquism, and one of the first ones that I had was the Charlie McCarthy doll, which we got out of the Sears Wish book back then, when they used to circle the toys in the back, and it was terrific. And Lester, I mean, Willie and Lester, I mean, this is iconic stuff here, and I'm glad to hear that he's still performing. Love to have him come on with Lester and chat. He's really amazing. So some of these great. What was this at an event? Were you performing with them? Or?
No, actually, he asked me to be on a podcast with him. He said, "I won't go on unless Joey goes on." So it was out in the valley here in Southern California, and I went out there and I forget what it was called, but we went on this podcast together. Yeah. So yeah, he's just a really good guy, talented guy, and that was at Mitzi's. Mitzi we had a eulogy for Mitzi at the Comedy Store when she passed away, and everybody showed up. You know, everybody showed up. All the comedians, and everybody's taking pictures. We hadn't seen each other in a long time. It was and we're all hanging out with Jimmie Walker.
Jimmie Walker, and
you see how buffed he's all buffed out and stuff. He's not a skinny JJ anymore. He hasn't been skinny JJ probably in 40 years.
Right.
He's a buffed out dude.
When you look at it, where do you think the comedy gene within you came from? I know you're and you're very open and authentic about it, and you talk about it in the show and everything, and in your book, which is a great read. The upbringing and everything that you had to go through. What do you pain? Right, laughter through pain. Where?
Well, it comes.
So the comedy gene came through pain.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you know, most comedians.
I mean, was there others in the family? Was your dad funny? Mother funny? Anybody funny in the family?
My father was mean funny. I mean, mean.
Yeah, like a sarcastic sort of.
Oh God, my sister was like really obese, and each September we'd have to go before school. We'd have to get clothes, and we get like 2 shirts and a couple pairs of pants or 3 shirts. And we go, "We're going to Sears for you guys." And all right. And my sister goes, she was fat. So we go, "We're going to take you to the tent and awning company." Like, I mean, it's mean shit he would say to her. And she'd go, "I'm tired." He goes, "What are you tired for? You don't work." He's just mean. I mean, someone would make me laugh, but it was pretty mean.
I was going to say, it almost sounds like a Rickles sort of routine or something.
No, but he was not trying to make jokes. He was serious.
He was serious about what he was saying. Yeah.
No. He was just mean, my father. I don't want to get into him, but it came from survival. It came from being in a home with a lot of dysfunction and a lot of dysfunctional siblings. So I learned to spend time alone. I learned to
create your own world.
Create my own world. Exactly. And then just when my voice changed when I went through puberty, and I had the ability to somehow channel different voices and characters from my old neighborhood. It was very strange. I just didn't know how I could do it. It just was like some kind of weird gift I had.
You
You know?
know, having that opportunity to connect with Doris Butler, who became like a protege, and as you said, the voice of Yogi
Mentor.
Bear, Huckleberry Hound,
Yeah.
Snagglepuss, Captain Crunch, and so much more. Um, he must have heard something, felt something in you to want to bring you in and say you'd be good
Yeah.
at
Well,
this.
see, I didn't know it right away, but he saw something of himself in me because I found out later on that, and he started his career as a teenager also in Toledo, Ohio, doing um, impressions of celebrities and singing. And he was in a comedy team or a trio, and then he was on his own. So he really enjoyed having me, uh, mentoring me, because he saw something, you don't see young guys doing this kind of thing. And I had a good ear for dialects, and he liked that. And he was just a wonderful teacher, and I was grateful to be around him. And
Yeah.
we even had a night of honoring him a few years ago. All of his former students, who are still to this day some of the most famous voiceover people in the world. Yeah.
Have you ever taught it since you're so
No,
good at it?
no. I don't think I could be a good teacher, but I just don't think, I just don't think people are that talented.
I like
You
the
know?
voice that he morphed into. No, no.
No.
No,
I don't want to take advantage of people and say, "Oh, I've got all these credits and I want to coach." I'm not like that. I don't want to do that. That would never cross my
and you're
mind.
so busy doing the work too anyway. I mean, it's
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
What was the very first voice that you did? Do you recall the very first one?
No, well, black voices, because I grew up in black neighborhoods. So I mean, I would make phony phone calls when I was in high school, and I'd be like, "Yeah, Siri there. Wait a minute, what you mean you see that nigga? This is a daddy? No, let me. This is her boyfriend. No, what? Click, hang up on me. It's like, so I mean, that's all I knew. Because I grew up, from 0 to 11, I lived in these blacker neighborhoods than most black people, and I could somehow imitate them. Not making fun. I would sound more. Even Paul Mooney. Paul Mooney, when I became friends with him when I was like 17 at the Comedy Store, and his nickname for me was the Negro Impressionist. He used to just, I was like Paul Mooney approved, because there were other white guys that did black voices,
Right.
but they were making fun of black people. I wasn't. I was coming from my experience of living the life in those neighborhoods. So I wasn't, my reality with it was part of who I was and what I imitated. So it was different.
Right, exactly.
Does that make sense?
Pulling from your life experience.
Yeah.
No,
And
exactly.
if you got Paul Mooney to prove you for that, just forget about it. I mean, he didn't like it when other white guys did that stuff. No, not at all. At all. In fact, he wouldn't even talk to them. But me and him, we just hang out a lot,
You had the opportunity to work on so many projects too with your voice, as much as a headliner and a fabulous stand-up comedian making us all laugh over the years. The original voice of Natural Smurf in the Smurfs TV series for Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah.
How did that opportunity come your way? What a
Well,
cool
I
opportunity
had an
that is.
agent. I had an agent who auditioned, and I got the part. It was Natural Smurf. I did it for about a year. Now this is a very Hollywood story. Now they wanted to, after I did it for a year, they wanted to make it a smaller version. So normally they would just say, "Can Natural Smurf talk like this? Okay, his name's Natural Smurf." So the producer said, "We want to make them smaller." So normally I would just take the voice up a little bit higher. So they said, "Okay, we want to audition you to see what you do to make the voice go higher." And they had a bunch of other people to audition, okay, for the part. Instead of just giving it to me, which they should have done, is give it to me, make the voice go higher, and we just continue the series. So they call me into the booth, and the director, who didn't have a clue, said, "All right, Joey, let's see here. Okay, we're going to play Natural Smurf for you so you can hear what he sounds like, and then you can do a higher version." I go, "Wait a minute, I am Natural Smurf. You're going to play me for me?" So there was, and I did my thing, and I didn't get it. And some other guy got it. 5 years of work that I lost, because I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but How Hollywood is that? I'm going to play you for you, so you can do a smaller version of it. Hollywood's crazy. Okay,
Hollywood is crazy. Yeah,
that was insane.
Yeah, that really is. But then also, and again, just some of the iconic figures in our lives. You had an opportunity to be the voice. I mean, when I told this to people, they were like, "What? He's the guy that did the voice of McGruff, the crime dog."
All those years, I replaced the guy. Now,
yes.
Yeah. I mean,
what years was that? Do you remember the years?
I was like in the mid 90s.
Yes.
I started doing it, and I would do PSAs, public service announcements, and I'd also do videos that they showed in the schools, with McGruff. And that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun because this is weird. This is a funny story. When I had to do the PSAs later on, I think that might have been in the early 2000s also. They had to, the Department of Justice had to hear my voice to approve it because he's such an iconic character. The U.S. government in Washington, D.C. had to hear my voice and they're, okay, he sounds like him. That's him. Okay. But they had to play it for the federal agency. Isn't that crazy? I just remembered that.
To make sure that he's not up.
We're good to go, but we gotta get approval from the Department of Justice or whatever, and some for the letter agency.
Those PSAs, public service announcements, are iconic, and case in point, everybody.
That's my nephew Scruff reading that comic book.
And this is your nephew Scruff using his magic zapper. See that, dog?
Uh-oh.
Watch. And now I'll turn you into a mouse.
Hold it. Change him back. No dog deserves that. Now watch this. I'm going to change this comic book into a special comic book that may help a lot of kids.
Hey, that's me.
Look inside. It's about the adventures you have coming home from school. It gives tips on what to do about bullies, or if you discover needles or drugs somewhere.
Uh-oh.
Or if there's trouble on the bus. And it shows what happens to Scruff.
What happens? What happens?
You'll see. For your free copy of this special comic activity book, write McGruff, Chicago, Illinois, 60652. That's McGruff, Chicago, Illinois, 60652. And you'll be helping me take a bite out of crime.
What happens? What happens?
That's incredible. Did you ever think that it would take on what it did as far as what it's meant to people? They still remember that campaign.
Well, I did it for a few years. So, they had other people doing it too. So, not really. I mean, I thought it was fun. I always just think my work is fun. McGruff the Crime Dog here with Jim on the case. We can all take a bite out of crime. So it's basically just having fun, and you do what the producers want you to do when you read and that kind of thing. And it was just work, fun work.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just amazing, really, the things that you have done in this epic and ongoing career, just scratching the surface of some of them. You've also had an opportunity to be the voice of Monstar in the Michael Jordan vehicle Space Jam, and many other video games too, Mafia 2, and you did 40 characters, only 2 accredited, but you did 40 of them. How did the Michael Jordan Space Jam opportunity?
Well, Space Jam came about. My agent sent me in, and the Monstar that I read for is actually Patrick Ewing blown up as a goon in a green with a red flat top. And I read for it, and his voice was like, "You're all washed up, Baldy." And I did really well. And it was a couple months before I found out that I got it. And people don't know this. They think this guy named Pitka directed the movie. I never saw hide or hair of the guy. It was directed by Ivan Reitman. Okay, all the actors. I made him laugh. See, he was auditioning me, Ivan Reitman, who did Animal House and Ghostbusters and all that stuff. He was there, Ivan. And Ivan was a funny guy. And a lot of people that got the roles got it because they made Ivan laugh. And he was directing us all in Space Jam and at Warner Brothers in the recording studios there. Ivan was in charge of it all, you know. So I mean, there's a different director who says he's the director. He might have directed the action sequences and all that stuff, but as far as the animation and everything, actors, it was Ivan Reitman personally, which was a blast. You know, yeah. So
yeah,
that was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. And the list goes on, folks. I mean, many super fans know this list, but you also had an opportunity to work with the Skylanders series as the voices of Boomer and Terrafin, Free Ranger, Brutal, Legend, Transformers 3, the Sam and Max online series, Fantastic Four as The Thing, the Sopranos video game, and lots more. The Sopranos video game. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah,
huh?
I can't even remember what I did on that one. I mean, it's like it was a New York gangster or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It was, you know, it's like, I mean, I got over 120 credits on IMDb, so I'd have to try and remember what I did. And I mean, it says it on there, so
It does.
I don't mean to sound weird, but when you do so many things, you can't remember exactly what it was because that was a long time ago. You know,
I mentioned that I had affiliation, still do for years with the good folks at PBS, and you did co-star for 2 seasons on the PBS series, as you mentioned earlier, The Righteous Apples. Tell us about that. That was a great opportunity too. And
The Righteous Apples was a TV series about 4 teenagers in high school, and it was their musical band. And I talk about this in my new play because they hired me to play a musician. I was the keyboard player, and I can't even clap on cue, okay? I've got no musical ability at all. So they had my hands down below the piano, like, you know, you see doing these musical numbers, and I'm not singing or anything. And that was a lot of fun. We did that for 2 years. And it was a very racially charged show in that they tackled subjects that most people wouldn't tackle back in the early 80s. Dealing with stuff like, even they had a South African doctor who was sterilizing young black girls that came in for examinations. I mean, things like really heavy subject matter. It was a lot of fun, really good learning experience. I enjoyed it. And that was 2 seasons. That was a good gig. You know, it was fun. You know, I was really young. I think I was 21, 22, and I was playing a 16-year-old. And I did look 16, even younger, actually. You know?
Yeah. You're also a published author, in case people aren't aware of that, and congratulations on that. And you've got this book here, which is really cool. My Life with Snoopy.
My baby.
Tell us about Snoopy. This is cool. Congratulations.
I'm gonna cry here.
Yeah.
He was, oh my God.
Yeah. Big part of your life.
Talk about this in the play because I had a tragic event when I was 10 years old. My parents took away my puppy from me. It was really bad. Who does that to a 10-year-old, right? And it took me 30 years before I'd love another dog. And I adopted him from the Burbank Animal Shelter. And look how beautiful he is. Who would throw that dog away? He's just gorgeous. And I named him, my puppy's name was Snoopy, even though he was a Labrador. And I named him Snoopy in honor of my puppy. And it was a journey we went on for 13 years until he passed away. I was so upset. I was practically suicidal when he died. So it was my kid. And I wrote this book about him. And it was very cathartic. And
yeah, it is. Yeah.
Enjoyed it. I mean, look how gorgeous he is. I mean, everywhere I took him for 13 years, people were like, oh, can I pet him? I go, wait, whoa. Kids wanted to grab him because he looked like a stuffed animal.
Yeah, well, he does.
Yeah. He was a Sheltie mix. He was Sheltie and American Eskimo. And he was just gorgeous. And one of the smart, it's like I adopted a circus dog. I mean, I'd be walking one down the street and another dog would come by or a person would come by and he would just lie at my feet. And he was so calm. It was like, how did I get this dog? He was like, I just lucked out. He was just so smart, intuitively. I mean, just like, I spent a lot of time with him too, but still. I mean,
Who was the, beautiful. Who was the book written for when you wrote it? I know it was a cathartic experience writing it, but did you have a reader in mind, or it's really anybody could enjoy it?
Anybody that loves dogs, anybody that's had a relationship with a pet that they've lost.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff about loss of the dog and our adventures together, things we went through, and there's a beautiful poem at the end about him. That's a tearjerker. And I even did an audiobook for it. It's available on Amazon. I actually recorded an audiobook.
It is on Amazon, yes.
Yeah.
A beautiful, beautiful book, folks. If you know Joey from all the other things he's done, this is a deeper dive into his emotions and his life, and he's very open about it. And that's one thing that I think people really have always enjoyed about you, Joey, is you're the real deal in everything you do. You're a professional, and you're really good at what you do. And there's a lot of years put in and blood, sweat, and tears, but you're also very open and real about your life in so many different ways, which I think is fantastic. The show, and of course, coming off the book, Laughter Through Pain, is another testament to that. Tell us about the book, and then that can lead us into the actual show that's coming up. And again, congratulations on this too.
Well, thank you, Jim. Well, the book I wrote also just to get it out, because when you examine a childhood that is has abuse in it and a lot of dysfunction, it's hard to write about it. So I wrote about it, and I tried to make it as funny as possible, because tragedy is comedy turned inside out, and the yin and the yang. And I did the best I could with it, and talking about my life and my family and what I went through. And then that was cathartic also. I mean, I write these memoirs to get stuff out, and transforming that into a one-person show was challenging. It is challenging. And because, I play all the characters. Like if I talk about the black kids I went to school with, I act out them, what they're doing. I act out my mother. I act out my father. I act out interactions I had with people. I have a whole scene in the play with me dealing with the great Ralph Bakshi, who is an animation maverick. I worked with him on a lot of, I became his go-to guy for voiceover after we worked together on American Pop and some other projects. We had like in fact, I emailed him about the show. And he says, "Okay, he lives in New Mexico." But he's like, "Oh well, all my old friends are dead." He's like 85 years old, and I'm still in contact with him once in a while. So it's challenging, and it's fun. And if tickets are still on sale, and you can either go to unitedsolo.org/shows and scroll down to November 9th, or you can call the box office, which is 212-714-2442, extension 45, and you can order tickets over the phone. And it's I love New York City. Just want to say that I people think I'm from there, but just because of my energy or whatever.
I could see that. Yes, you have an East Coast vibe.
I walk around. It's like, "Are you from the neighborhood, right?" I said, "No, I'm originally from Detroit, but I live in California." "You live in California?" It's like it's like they think I like live around the corner or something. Like, no, I'm just visiting. Look at the tall building.
By way of Motown, right? Yeah.
By way of Motown. But it's pretty. Always made me laugh every time I go there. It's like, because I fit right in. But I'm still looking. Wow, this is so cool. Right. I'm still like a little kid.
We have. New York City. Oh, absolutely, and it's going to be a great show. And we have a little bit of a clip. It's like a trailer for what people are going to see and enjoy. And I really want our viewers and everybody watching around the world here right now live on the Jim Masters Show. The one and only Joey Camen is my special guest, legendary stand-up comedian, iconic voice actor, writer, and so much more, published author, performer extraordinaire. And he has this show coming up. I'm going to tell you how you can get tickets. But here is a little promo of Laughing Through the Pain, and it's going to be really something special. Here it is.
Takes the Yogi Bear puppet, turns it toward me, and I hear, "Fuck you, boo-boo." No, this is a department store, not a playground. You're a son of a bitch.
Tony, so what you talking about?
This show is about a different time and place, from the 1960s, 70s,
80s, 90s, and beyond.
I had a very good ear for dialects. Hold it right there, buddy. Don't move, or I'll blow your lips into the sink. I go home with no lips. My mama gonna kill me.
That voice you're doing is racist. Do you want to get canceled?
What? Canceled? Racist?
How can a voice be racist? It's just a voice.
I'm going, Tony.
Oh.
It's a story of a twisted childhood, and it's also one of Hollywood.
I won't go into the exact details of my childhood abuse. I did everything you told me to do. But what I had to deal with, somebody must have stolen it. I took it. You think money grows on trees? It had me growing up fast. Don't, please, Dad, don't! You don't talk that way to your mother. In about a minute, 20 weeks of hard work, torn to pieces, completely unrepairable.
Please, join me on my journey of ups and downs, laughter, and pain. Comedian Joey Camen is coming to New York City with his brand new one-man serial comic play, Laughing Through the Pain. Get your tickets now. Call the box office, 212-714-2442, extension 45. Call now. This show is about a different time and place, from the 1960s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and beyond.
I had a very good ear for dialects. Hold it right there, buddy. Don't move, or I'll blow your lips into the sink. I go home with no lips. My mama gonna kill me.
That voice you're doing is racist. Do you want to get canceled?
What? Canceled? Racist?
How can a voice be racist? It's just a voice.
It's a story of a twisted childhood, and it's also one of Hollywood. Please, join me on my journey of ups and downs, laughter, and pain. Or go to unitedsolo.org, not com, unitedsolo.org/shows, and you just scroll down to November 9th, and you can see all the information. There's a link to my trailer. I hope to see you guys there. Adios.
I tell you, that's really something quite special. And what was it like putting it together? I mean, because you're opening up, the can and you're sharing it with everybody. What was that like for you? Was it therapeutic, cathartic?
Well, it's very emotional, even as many times as I've done it. It's pretty raw. I'm dealing with a lot of emotions, and I'm also trying to make it as funny as possible. It's a serio comedy, which means serious comedy. So there's a big comedic element to it, but there's also a serious. It's a journey of a kid who was abusive, had abuse put on him, and dealing with a very dysfunctional home life, and escaping from Detroit at 17 and moving to Hollywood on his own, not knowing anybody. I paid it all my own way. No one gave me a dime, and just working in like minimum wage jobs in the early 70s as a kid. So I saved all my money and moved to Hollywood, and just happened to have some talent, I guess, and be there at the right place in the right time, and that's it. And so it's just a journey, and hopefully people will get something out of it, and see something of themselves if they're in a bad situation or whatever, So that's basically it.
Well, see, that's a beautiful thing. Exactly what you just said is maybe there's other people at any level. They don't have to be well-known comedians and voice actors, but they could just be going through something in their life. And there's something that you say, they see you as somebody who's so well-known and who's been out there hustling all these years doing your thing and is incredibly talented and revered in the industry, opening up about his life and working through it. It's a very inspiring and empowering thing for somebody else. And I'm sure, that underpinning is what you hope people also get out of it, who might also be in similar situations like you've had to deal with over the years.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so. You never know. People are doing their thing, and it's a different time and place now than it was when I was young. So, I'm bringing that time period to them. So it's a little different. Maybe the younger people will learn something that they didn't know about what happened in those days, as opposed to what now and the internet and all technology, because none of that existed when I was a kid. So
Exactly right. When you look back at the career and you look at some of those pivotal moments for you that are some of your personal favorites, from the stand-up comedy side and being involved with the Comedy Store clubs and everything else that you've done, what are some of those moments that are some of your personal favorites, Joey?
well, working in Las Vegas was really fun, and working there, and my mother got to come to the show, so that really touched my heart. She never went anywhere her whole life, and they had moved out to Lancaster, California, in the desert, to be near me, and just seeing her there made me happy. She got to see my name on a marquee. Pretty much that, and working just in general, making a living, because it's hard. Only 3 to 5% of people in the Screen Actors Guild in America and after American Federation of Television and Radio Artists make a living. So I'm thankful that I could do that. And in general, because show business is rough. It really, really is. When you see the odds of what's going on and what it takes to do stuff. I mean, when I started, there's no social media and all that stuff, and people making videos of them dancing and having millions of followers. It's crazy to me. I mean, okay, who's following you? I like to know that. It's like, come on. I mean, what's the brain capacity of these people? Oh, whoa, what? She's dead. Oh, she's lip syncing to a song. I mean to be sarcastic, but come on, seriously.
Oh, I agree. It's funny.
Yeah. Crazy. It makes no sense to me. It really doesn't. It's like, the decline of Western civilization. It's like it's wild. I mean, hey, more power to them. They're making good money. They're hopefully having fun. Save it. But as far as the unions go and all that kind of stuff, and working in the real Hollywood, it's rough.
Yeah,
or it can be.
Exactly.
I didn't have any relatives or celebrity friends to put me in something, so I just had it on my own.
When you packed up and said, I'm going west, did the whole family go, or was it just you that went?
Oh, you kidding me? I was getting away from them. I was like, no, my mother was upset, but I gotta go, Mom. Gotta go. I was 17, bought a van and moved to California.
And
I mean, ballsy.
Yeah, and at that time too, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And then when did Vegas become part of your life?
Vegas became part of my life when Mitzi put me in the main showroom there with the groups that we did, and that was from like 86 to 90. For like 4 years. Go there several times a year, and no, that was a blast, as I said. And having my mother come there was just wonderful.
That's a beautiful thing when your mother has had a chance to see you do what you love so much and bring so much joy to so many other people. And again, working probably with people that she's always admired as well. And I mean, are there people that you wish you could have had an opportunity to work with, other comedians, actors, personalities over the years? Gee, it would have been great if I had the opportunity to work with that legend or that person.
Not even necessarily work with, but meet. I would have loved to have met and hung out with George Carlin, who I admired so much, and Lily Tomlin. She's from Detroit, and she actually went to school like down the street from me. And I found out later she was from university on 7 Mile Road, and I lived near 6 Mile Road. So, I've always admired Lily Tomlin. I would have loved to still meet her now. She's still around. And George Carlin, are two that I would have loved to have met.
Did you get a chance to meet people like Don Rickles, Jackie Gleason, Rodney Dangerfield, Phyllis Diller? Any of that crowd?
I used to see Rodney Dangerfield at the Comedy Circus. He'd come there in a lot of comedians. He really helped a lot of comedians. Also, Another guy that helped, in my opinion, helped some of the comedians was Eddie Murphy. I never really hung out with him, but he helped so many people the public doesn't know. I mean, Paul Mooney opened for him on a 60-city tour. Now, who does that? I mean, he could barely follow Paul Mooney. That's how powerful of an act he is. Great guy. When I was very young, these are some names you'll know. They tried to help me, and they were like the kindest people I'd ever met. Ann Mira, who is Ben Stiller's mom.
Yeah, Jerry Stiller's wife. Yeah,
Jerry Stiller's wife. When I was 18 years old, she liked me a lot. She liked my act, and she wanted to help me. So she introduced me to her manager. She wanted her manager to handle me. So, and I was nervous. You come to the club to see me. This guy, his name's Marty Litke. And he was a big deal manager. And I didn't drink because I was 18, but I bought a 6-pack. I got someone to buy me a 6-pack of beer, and I drank like 4 beers, and I was still wired. And I was like, whoa, because I was so nervous. I didn't know what else to do. I'm not a drinker. I don't even drink now. I mean, but I was a kid, and I was still wired. I didn't calm down. And I did his show, and he liked me. He goes, let's have a meeting. So I met with him in Beverly Hills. I'll never forget this. And he goes, sit down, kid. I was like, it's on the phone with there was 1,300 an episode. And I thought that was a lot of money back then, like 1,300 episodes, and it probably was. And he says, okay, here's what we need to do with you, Joey. We need you to write about baseball, dating. And he gives me a list of stuff that he wants me to do. And I'm like, I wasn't dating. I don't hate baseball. I never liked sports. And he wanted me to do this teenage act. And even at 18, I was doing stuff like Swedish birdmen from like weird stuff where I'd put my hair up like this and I'd pick the microphone up and I'd be a Zulu warrior. I mean, I was doing crazy shit on stage in the audience. I looked like I was 14 and I was doing, and it was getting big laughs and I was having fun. I didn't want to insult the guy. So I said, okay. And I said, I never called him back. It wasn't a missed opportunity because that was not me. I cannot do that. I don't have experiences. I was living in a fantasy world. I didn't have that great of a childhood. So I was making up all this stuff and it was funny, just wild characters and situations from back home and that kind of thing. But for me to talk about baseball and dating, you saw my act. What are you talking about, pal? But so, I mean,
well, there is that getting to first base, home run sort of thing with both.
Yeah, but I know, but still, can you imagine someone telling you what he thinks you should do because you're of that age group? Why do you want to put me in? I just couldn't do it. Even at that young of an age, I knew I just couldn't do it. And another guy that wanted to help me too, was very famous back then, was Bill Dana. Him and Ann, I think, were friends too. He was always talking to me and very sweet to me. Bill Dana was he used to do this character in the 50s. My name was Eddie Manis. He was a very famous stand-up comedian, world famous stand-up comedian.
Oh, yes, I remember him.
Yeah. So I remember, this will come back in my head now. Early in my career, there was people that wanted to help me, whether they could or not was a different story. But I never forget, and I've always wanted to meet Ben Stiller to tell him that, because his mother was just so nice and so supportive and so sweet to someone who was young, unknown, and lost.
Yeah.
So, his mom was just an incredible person.
What are some other things in addition to this show that you have, and of course the 2 books? Do you see more books coming, and what are some other projects that you're excited about down the line, Joey?
Well, right now my focus has been on the play, because it's a long play. It's a little over 100 minutes, 2 acts. And focusing on this, and my goal would be to get a run in New York City and have some producers say, hey, let's take it to the next level. This is just one performance in a theater row in United Solo. And my goal is to get this working a run in a off-Broadway theater in New York City would be one of my goals. So that's mainly been my main focus right now. I'm always auditioning. I'm still auditioning, still grinding with the voiceover.
It's amazing, right?
I'm in my recording. This is my studio mic. See my mic?
It's got the mic there, and
the Sennheiser 416, and you record in here, and audition. With an agent and audition and put it out there and see if you get it.
And you also, we kind of want to show this just to show some of the witticism and the quickness of your humor. This is very funny, and we'll show it and then you can tell us about it. But it involves this gentleman here, his quick wit, and a tennis ball.
The world's greatest tennis balls are made by Wilson. Since 1979, Wilson has been the official manufacturer of tennis balls for the U.S. Open. Tennis players around the globe love Wilson tennis balls. Hey, Joey, what do you think of Wilson tennis balls? Wilson, you said a mouthful.
Oh boy! Well,
How the heck did you do that? You must not have a very strong gag reflex.
Yeah, well, that was one of the first routines I did. I'll put it in context for you. I used to do this little kid character. His name was Punky, because I was doing characters on stage, and I used to. In fact, I did this. My television debut was on Don Kirshner's rock concert, and I came out dressed as this little kid Punky. And I spit the ball out of my mouth and I bounce it and then I throw it to show them that it's real. And I would just say, "I'm not normal," and I just did a whole routine about how Christopher Columbus saved America. And I changed my voice and everything from doing this little kid character. I would pop a black voice. I would pop all these other different voices out of me. So, and I was doing that routine for years, with the tennis ball spinner. Then I got to stop doing this. It's stupid. But it was and then I did that commercial several years ago, just as fun. I made that up. And that's me even doing the voiceover on that, talking. So I put that together for the internet. So I had it put together. And so
that's incredible. It's funny stuff, Joey.
Yeah.
I mentioned too Richard Pryor, and we had them on the show, and they couldn't have been more delightful and funny together. Anita Pointer and Ruth Pointer were with us from the Pointer Sisters, and it was one of the last conversations before we lost Anita when she passed. But you were an opening act for Oingo Boingo, the Pointer Sisters, Richard Pryor, Marvin Gaye, many others, which was really, that talk about exposure there, huh?
Yeah, they were basically a few nighters. I didn't go on the road with them. Richard was more at the Comedy Store. I'd do that a lot. But the other ones were like 2 nights here, night here. Marvin Gaye was that was incredible. I loved Marvin Gaye from Detroit. I opened for him 2 nights in a row. This huge, 4,500 seat theater down in San Diego. And the audience was about 95% or more black. And I made a mistake because I came out in a character instead of coming out as myself. And they looked at me like I was from the moon. I was just like an old Jewish lady. I came out and I stood up on the stool. 4,500 people are staring at me. And I had to get it off real quick. And hey, how's it going? And then it says take over the crowd. And the second night I didn't do that. I did much better because I came out as myself. But I freaked them out the first night. But I wanted to even him. I would have loved to have got my picture with or even to meet him. But I wasn't. Even though I had a backstage pass, I wasn't allowed. But after I was done, I'd go out to the crowd and watch Marvin Gaye perform. Magical. And the people were going insane. That was a really fun gig. But it's not like I went on the road with them. They were all, I opened for them, but there was always a few nighters. And that was very enjoyable, especially the Marvin Gaye gig. I just enjoyed that a lot. And I had an agent at the time who said, "Hey, Joey, you want to go to San Diego for a couple of days and open for Marvin Gaye?" Yeah.
I think that's a yes.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. It's a no-brainer. You voiced multiple characters on animated family films too. The Son of Bigfoot, Thunder and the House of Magic, and of course we mentioned Space Jam as well, and lots of TV and radio commercials as well. Even Hoover, Do you love doing the television commercials, TV and radio commercials?
Yeah, when I can get it, especially if they're union jobs. Yeah. It's been a while since I booked one of those, but yeah, those are great gigs. I mean, doesn't take a lot of time, and residual money's great. So if there's any radio producers need me for that, look me up.
Joey's here. Comedy obviously has gone through a sort of morphing in recent years, especially.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the way comedy is changing now? And have you had to change any material or morph or tweak anything along the way?
Well, I wouldn't be able to do my old act, without being not necessarily canceled, but people would go, "I can't believe he's doing that." It's like, I don't know. The media portrays things a certain way, and their thoughts get kind of weird. And, I don't like it, but the fact that you can't do things without people calling you names. I mean, who are you? I don't go down to your work and tell you you're this or you're that or you this or that. It has changed a lot, So, I don't like it. Comedians should be able to say whatever they want. They should be able to point things out and talk about whatever race they want. And not be called names. It's just gotten a little odd. That's all I can say. I mean, I don't. That's the thing. There's nothing you can do to change it except do your own thing. And a lot of people have that attitude of "F you, I'm doing what I want," and they're successful. So you can break out of that mold. Don't. Why do we have to alter our thoughts and our actions for a group of people we can't even see? We can't see them. Do they exist? It's just this one person tweeting out this or tweeting out that and calling this person names. And, I just don't like it. It's not freedom of speech. It's not freedom of expression. People need to get around that. I mean, who are you to call anybody anything? You're sitting behind your room in your computer, living in your mom's basement, and you're judgmenting and telling other people to say, "Oh, he's a racist. He's this. He's that. She's this. Oh my God, she called so and so such and such. Oh, I hate her. I hate her." What do you do? How about if we run a check on your name and see how many crimes you've committed? Self-righteous, it's insane. Let's run a check on you. Yeah, what's your real name? Okay, let's run it out. $30 online. We can find out what you did. Come on, let's find out everything about your background, and let's see. Usually the people that do that, they've got stuff going on,
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like anybody that calls you a name, let's find out about you. I don't need your social security number. I need your city and state. I can find you real quick. It's the internet.
I'll drink to that.
Little rant, dude. It's just,
Yeah. No. Yeah. Here's a cool shot of more recent years. We showed the earlier one with you and David Letterman. Here's a more recent.
Yeah, that was at Johnny Witherspoon's eulogy. David was hosting, and it was at Forest Lawn, and his wife, Angela Robinson, put it on. And I hadn't seen him in a long time, and we just took our picture together. And, always a good guy. See him smiling, and he was very thin.
Yeah.
Of course, I colored my hair, not him. It was nice to see him. A lot of people, it was a very sad event because Johnny had passed away, and I'd known him since I was 18 years old. And I knew his family too. And everybody was good. Everybody was nice. And it was a sad event. It was a hell of a show. Oh my God. His wife put on, what a show. She was like the musical acts and big time comedians. And it was just a salute to him, to Johnny. He was a good guy, so that's what that photo was. It was backstage after the celebration of Johnny Witherspoon's life, and it's funny, I'm at his wedding and I'm at his funeral,
Yeah, it was amazing, right?
Yeah.
It's talk about full circle on so many different levels.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
at least I was invited to it, it was, so that was nice. It's a nice tribute to his passing. So, yeah.
What would Joey of today say to this Joey of then?
Oh, man. Oh, gosh. What would I say to him? Calm down. It'll be okay, kid. Calm down. I was just so young and so wild. I didn't know that looking back, it's hard to tell anybody anything when you're that age. You know how righteous and everything when you're 18, 19 years old. Looking back, I think I really suffered a lot from post-traumatic stress syndrome from everything I had been through with my father, but I covered it up with laughter. I covered up the pain with laughter, and which was a good thing, so that'd be the only advice. I would say, calm down, everything will be okay. Because I was pretty wired, and I didn't do drugs or alcohol. I mean, just that one time when I was nervous and got to get up in front of some big manager, but other than that, that's all he probably wouldn't even listen. He'd probably say, "Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do?" I was so righteous, you know how teenagers can be, and especially because I was on my own. I was paying my rent. I've been paying rent since I was 15. My father used to charge me money when I was on my first job. So I was on my own I've always been on my own. I mean, that's really young. Now people stay at home till 30 and they complain, "Gosh, mom." I can't relate to any of that. I just grew up in a different time and era with a different set of I don't even know call them values. This is situations that I had to deal with. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
That's it. I love how expressive you are with your face too. Even just in normal conversation, your face is it lights up. It's very expressive.
Yeah, I've always been. I can't hold my emotions back. Like people know I'm mad when I'm mad. They know I'm happy when I'm happy, and sad when I'm sad. And what's really weird is when I do voices, my facial expressions change. When I take on a character or something, it would automatically happen. It's very strange. Like if I talk like a black guy, my nostrils automatically get bigger. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I'm stopping that now. But I used to rehearse in the mirror and stuff, and I would notice as I start doing a voice, or if I would talk like, "Oh, it's total Briscoe, right?" So like my face would sort of change like this, turn around, and it's like, I'm like, "Oh, I look a little bit different, don't I, mate?" Like that. So anytime I would do a different character or a different dialect or a voice, I would take on the facial expressions of that character automatically. It's not like I'm trying to do it. It would just happen organically. It's always very strange to me. I don't know.
It's automatic. Yes, it's what you do. Yeah. Well, I think, also you're an observer of life. You're soaking up everything that's going on and all the people you meet and the experiences. And then you're able to translate that into comedy and voice work and more. You're always got your radar going and your eyes and ears open. And I think it's what it is.
I'm also very, very shy and quiet, believe it or not. I just don't, if I go to a party or something, I just sit in the corner, and I don't like going to parties really. I just sit and look around, or I don't really talk much, or I just watch people. I don't really, not to compare myself to him, but Richard Pryor was really a shy guy. I mean, if you saw him sitting at the back of the Comedy Store before he was getting ready to go on or whatever, he just kind of fell into the chair or whatever. He's just really quiet. And then you put him on stage, he was a powerhouse. It's like boom, alive. A lot of comedians are like that. They're quiet and shy, and the stage is where they let loose. They have license to do what they want. Well, actors are like that.
Yes.
They transform when it comes time to. You have license to do your thing. It's
exactly.
Not. If you do it in public, they think you're pretty nuts.
Yeah. Is the sitcom world something that still has any interest? If, say, they called and said, "Hey, we could see you, starring in a sitcom."
Yeah, I would love to be in a sitcom. I would love to be a character actor on a sitcom. Why not? It'd be fun, and I've got no problem with that. Let them call.
Right.
No, I'm open to all kinds of work,
which is great.
I just enjoy performing is the bottom line. I
Absolutely.
enjoy performing. I love the stage. I always have. I just don't know where it came from. It just happened, it's something that kind of stuff can't be taught,
Right.
I mean, you can't teach any of that. People say, well, I want to be a stand-up comedian. Well, are you funny? Are you intuitively funny? I mean, you can have the jokes, but so what? Anybody can hire a writer or read jokes from a joke book. Are you funny? Do you have it intuitively in your soul? People don't think that. They think, I want to be famous. It's like, great. Good luck. I'm sorry to sound sarcastic, but that's what's out there.
Well, and then you have to develop sort of a thick skin, right? Rejection or heckling and things that happen. When not everybody gets the joke.
Some of these newer comedians don't get hecklers. I mean, I started out, several years working really late at night at the Comedy Store. Mitzi had me go on like at 12 to 1 in the morning. And what would happen is the audience were hardcore comedy fans because the club opened at 8. And if they're still there at 1, they've watched like 15 acts, 20 acts. Everybody only got 15 minutes, right? If you can make those people laugh, you're pretty good. You're doing something right because these are hardcore comedy fans. If you can get laughs with them, and then I learned to talk to the audience, where you're from, how you doing, and in between, and after that, Paul Mooney would always go on after me because he would close the show, and he was just so wild. He make people would walk out, but they would other comedians would hang around just to watch him, because he was so fascinating, Paul. And we did hundreds of shows like that, at the Comedy Store in the old days, so. That is a little bit different. So you learn how to talk to an audience. You learn how to deal with. Most people wouldn't heckle me because I was pretty wild, or they wanted to see what I was going to do next, or what voice was going to come out of me next. So really, would I get hecklers? If they did, they were like dead drunk, and then pretty much you can shut them up real quick. But I don't think people have to deal with those situations I dealt with in the old days. They just get big audiences and. They're opening for some big act and, people paid a lot of money and they're not going to have some guy scream at them. They just toss them out. And you probably say, if you, it's like, yeah, we're real clever, so it's like, so it was a different time and place where I learned, where I got my chops, so to speak, you know what I'm saying? So it was a different era. It was a different time. Even though I was young, it was different, so I don't think people do that anymore. Now they have all these comedy clubs where they call them bringer shows. You got to bring people.
You got to bring people to fill seats and all right.
What about just performing?
Right.
Pay me to perform. I don't need to bring an audience to you. What kind of club owner are you? But that's what they have all over the country.
That's what it is now. Yeah, even singers and other acts have to.
Oh my God, I wouldn't want that pressure. Promoting is enough for me. It's like I have enough pressure doing that. So it's like, but that's the way the world is now. So I mean, I just learned and grew up in a different era. Even though I'm not that old, I have my youthful energy. So I don't know what else to say about it, but it's just different now. It's just different, and I just say to people, if that's your passion. And you can sacrifice to do it, go for it. Have fun, and don't listen to all the negative people out there because comedy is very negative. Comedians can be so negative. You don't want to be around these guys. I'm telling you. I was used to it because I grew up in a negative household, and all of these guys didn't bother me at all, really. If they did, I'd tell them where to go. Because that's the way I was.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Doing the same job as them, but I don't want to hear their crap. It gets annoying after a while. It's like you talking to a broadcaster or whatever, and all he does is bitch all day long. It's like, how long do you want to be around that?
Right.
And they got a good job too.
Exactly right. Exactly. Would you say comedians are supportive of each other, or is there the rivalries? I've always heard two different sides of the coin, depending on who you talk to.
It really depends on the comedian and where they're at in life. Some of the comedians usually don't do a lot for comedians. They're pretty self-centered people. The only ones I know that have done a lot of work for people or help people, and I could be wrong on this. Eddie Murphy's helped a lot of people. Who else? I know Tom Dreesen has. Paul Mooney for sure. Paul Mooney got so many people jobs, especially with the Richard Pryor Show, and even beyond that. So it really depends on where you're at in life, because a lot of people are jealous of young and upcoming talent or whatever, and they don't want to help them. There's all about their opera singers. It's me, 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 me. So it really depends on the individual and where they're at in life. So I mean, sometimes they'll let comedians open for them, but they can't be funnier than you. So otherwise, that's not good. You don't want a comedian opening for you that destroys the room, and then you got to go on and you're the star. So it's like, it's a mixed bag, I'm sure there's people I don't know that help comedians, because I'm out of the loop with that, with the new big time comics. I don't know what they do. There's different guys I do. I heard Cat Williams is really cool. I like Cat Williams a lot. He makes me laugh, and he's very supportive, and takes on the whole gang of comedians too. So there's guys out there that I don't know that are probably very supportive of comedians that I've heard about or whatever. So it's a mixed bag, So
what's really cool in just your normal speech pattern and your vocal texture. You go in and out of different voices when you're talking, which is really cool. To the low guy, to the it's really cool, all in the same paragraph. I think it's other people have noticed that, right? I think it's
the way I talk, because sometimes if I get excited, I can or if I get scared, it's but I've always had an expressive face my whole life. It's like, because the comedians used to tease me, and I didn't even know why they were teasing me, because I would react to stuff, and then I'd freak out over stuff, so they'd come up and tease me or say something weird, and I go, and they would just laugh, and I'm like, what are they doing? They'd pick on me, and I'd I didn't know what to do. Then I found out I would agree with them, whatever they said, and then they stopped doing it.
It's funny
you're
how
like
that works,
young kid. You're like the young kid there at the club, and they can goof on you, whatever. And I was always overreacted, like my face. They'd laugh. This is off stage. This is not on stage. They would just come up and say stuff to me, or say, "Hey, did you do this?" And touch me, such a no, I did not. What are you talking about? And then they just laugh and they keep at me, because you're like the kid brother to some of them.
To some of them, exactly.
And
I want to show everyone.
Yes.
I want to show the viewers again. These books are available at Amazon, and where books are sold as well. And this is the latest, and I'm sure there'll be more. And again, if you would like to, and he's very open and real with both books. Here is for folks on the East Coast in the New York City tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, or from anywhere. You can come to the city, the Big Apple, and there's the box office and the times they're open and the phone number and the extension to go to this incredible opportunity, the show that Joey is putting on. It's really going to, you're going to be left laughing and thinking, probably crying. All the different emotions he puts into it. And of course, it's part of the festival that's happening too, unitedsolo.org. And there's Joey's site, voicecomic.com. Really cool stuff there as well. A true pleasure, Joey. You've been doing, you're very humble about it all, but you've done a lot, continue to do a lot. You've gone through the clouds, through the fog. You've created a name for yourself. People love you. You're very good at what you do. You sell out. People want to know your story. And it really was an honor and a pleasure to get a chance to dig a little deeper and welcome you to the show and have not an interview, but a really good, free-flowing conversation with you, Joey. I really hope you enjoyed the time with me.
Jim, thank you. You're amazing. You do incredible research. This is like the best. Seriously, I've never seen anybody do that much research and about me. And I don't know. I've always been this way. It's not that I take things for granted at all. It's just that I just don't realize when things are how people look at it that aren't in the business. So people like it, and I think that's terrific. So it's hard to see outside yourself sometimes of how people perceive what you do for work.
Mhm.
You know, so
Right.
it's hard. So, but I'm thankful and grateful that people like what I do, and maybe they get something out of it. You know, so
Absolutely. Yes. And you really could be a kid of the East Coast of the New York area. You just have that. There's
yeah,
the vibe is there. It really
oh, yeah, I
is.
know. It
The
cracks me up.
mannerisms, everything.
It cracks me up because my I think some of my ancestors might have lived on the East Coast for a while. I just don't know because
Yeah.
they didn't communicate very well. You know,
Yeah.
I'm Russian or Romanian ancestry. You know, so
So absolutely, yeah,
yeah.
that's cool stuff. And really, I enjoyed the time with you, and I hope you had a good time here with me
Oh
on the
yeah,
show.
it's been Jim. It's been terrific. Seriously, I can't say more. You're a fantastic host. Thank you.
Pleasure is all mine, and good luck again with the show. We'll show the how to get the tickets and all that again. But thanks so very much. Spread the word about the Jim Masters show, and
Sure, I'll post it
you,
everywhere for you and
you'll,
all that stuff. And
you'll see. You probably even get the vibe that I do it sort of kind of paying homage to Carson, Merv, Regis,
yeah,
Mike. It's sort of a conversational Dick
yes,
Cavett,
for sure.
not just an
I get the
interview.
Dick Cavett thing. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
Yeah, sort of a warm conversational playing off the TV background, and really appreciate all of your time. You were very generous with it as well, Joey. And come see us again. I always say we're going to keep the porch light on for you. And
thank you.
just want to show you a couple of comments from some of our live viewers. This was a lot of fun. Thanks for being here with us this evening, Joey. All the best to you, and welcome to the Levity Squad. That's the Jim Masters show. He said the show has a lot of light, love, and levity. And one time I said it too fast, and I said levity, and they jumped on that, and they said,
That's hilarious.
"You're Mr.
Ah,
Levity. This is Levity Hall, and they're the Levity Squad, and you're part of the Levity family." And I said that during the pandemic. YouTube goes crazy when it hears that word. Crystal is watching. Hop on the train and go in to see him. She's next door there in Connecticut. Thank you, Joey, for coming to JMS on the JMS show, Jim Master
thank
Show.
you.
You're an amazing entertainer. I wish you success in your career. She's from Connecticut. Maureen is watching in Arizona. Kathleen is in New York City. Hop,
Yeah.
skip, and a jump for her right into Manhattan. Thanks for being here, Joey. This has been fun. Good luck with all you do. Sherry is in Kansas. Thank you, Jim, for another wonderful show and all you do for the Lovities, Levity Hall. Thank you, Joey, for being here with us tonight, for being so open about your life. Best wishes and all you do in the future. And she sends you hearts. And Merlin in Ontario, Canada says you are a Jim Masters show Lovity. Cool
I'm a
stuff.
lovey now. I'm a
Hey,
lovey.
if you ever need a pick me up, just stop by us and we'll do it for you.
I'm a lovey.
You're the best, my friend. You be well. Congratulations on everything. And
Thank you.
come see us again. I really enjoyed the time with you.
Me too. Appreciate it very much.
You be well, sir. Take care now.
You too. Thanks.
Bye-bye now. Wow, really a great conversation with somebody who's legendary in the business. He's done it all from Hollywood to Vegas, New York, and everywhere in between. And joining us here on the Jim Masters show, talking a little bit about his background and his career, reminding you of some of the iconic things he's had an opportunity to do and work on. But one of the great things about him is he is a straight shooter. He's the real deal. He's authentic. He wears his heart on the sleeve, as you can tell. He's been somebody who's dealt with a lot of different things in his life, as many people do. We all of us do. Nobody's life is perfect or a Hollywood script. That's why they call it a script. He's really somebody who uses his observations, the craziness of life, and turns it into gold with his comedy and his wit. And then, of course, he's lent his terrific voice. You're just listening to him talk. He's so animated and expressive and enthusiastic. Like you can hear several different voices coming out of him as he's just saying everyday sentences. Legendary voice actor, comedian, writer, author, Joey Camen here on the show for this wonderful conversation Really terrific. And I know you guys are still talking about the McGruff thing. Yes, he did do the voice, one of the folks that did do the voice. And of course, we talked about the Smurfs. Interesting story about the Smurfs, too, and what happened there. And again, for those that are watching live right now, if you're watching this 6 months from now, this will be past tense, but we hope you enjoyed this episode anyway. For those of you in the New York tri-state area or on the East Coast, or you want to fly to the East Coast and come see Joey, even folks who are in Hartford and Providence and Albany and Boston and come up from Philadelphia, he will be in New York. And there you go. There's the opportunity to get those tickets. And it's part of a big festival that's happening. And you can go to unitedsolo.org, O-R-G, to learn more. And again, there's his website. And he was very generous with the time and very generous with his stories, too. You know, very open and very kind. And it was really cool to hear him talk, you know, from his own perspective. And I really, really appreciate that. Kathleen says, great show. Thanks, Jim. The pleasure is all mine. She also did a super sticker. Thank you very much. That supports the series. That's so cool. We appreciate that, Kathleen. They're in New York City. Always so supportive of our series. We thank Joey, and we thank all of you. Come by and see us again. We've got so many incredible shows. Matter of fact, don't forget, you can binge watch hundreds and hundreds of episodes with iconic celebrity friends and guests from Hollywood, television, film, music, Broadway, comedy, sports, culinary arts, everything you can think of. That's what we do, kind of like the old school talk shows did. Guests came from all different backgrounds. You know, shows like the Dinah Show, and there's Joey on the right. If you didn't see that earlier, or you joined us late, very involved with the Dinah Show, and of course the Comedy Store and everything else. And again, headlining for years, from then to the more recent years, like here, the famous Dunes in Vegas. Cool stuff, gang. Thanks for joining us. This is your host, Jim Masters. Thanking you for your time this time. Till next time, come follow us on crazy social media. We're on Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter, and Facebook at Jim Masters TV. And of course, as we always say, if you enjoyed this episode and all the episodes you enjoy, there's a way you can help us reach more people. We do have millions around the world that follow our show. We appreciate that. But we would love it if you enjoyed this episode, and all the ones you enjoy, give it a like. There's a thumbs up icon. Click the thumbs up. Be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. That's where all these episodes are. You can see this again. Share it on your social media. Comment, leave a comment right below this episode, right down there below, right down there. Leave a comment for us. What you enjoy about the show? And when you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, make sure you click the notification bell icon. You know, working in television and radio, I never thought I'd have to say these things. You know, like Joey said, he just wants to perform. You know, I would go on TV. I still do, but you go on TV, you do your thing, you go on the radio, you host, you do. But, you know, we didn't say, like, comment, subscribe, and all these different things. But that's what you say now on the internet and on this platform. So give us a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Click the notification bell so you never miss any of these great episodes, and share the episode on social media. And we thank you. If this was your first time here, welcome to the family, the lovely family at the Jim Masters Show. We really appreciate you being with us. All right. That is a wrap for this episode. Check out all the other ones. Thanks for all the great comments, everybody in the chat room. Be sure to leave a comment below. We would love that as well. And come see us again. We've got lots of great shows coming up just for you right here on the Jim Masters Show Live, Entertainment, Lifestyle, Celebrity Talk Show Series. Whew, that's a mouthful. Appreciate it. Don't forget to love one another. Take care of one another. Don't forget to love yourself. We say that all the time. Take care of yourself. And come see us again on the Jim Masters Show. We love you all. Be well. Take care. And cheers.